stereotypes last a lifetime. This moment is brought to you by National Cream Crackers.
TalkUp Yout is powered by National Baking Company in association with Crown Water, a Stanley and Empress production, giving the youth a voice.
TalkUp Yout.
So we come to know these youths and show these youths. Talk up youths, help the youths to know them roots. Nurture them, protect and love and hear these youths. Music make them know I love we show these youths. We say save the youth, not kill the youth. A bill we come for build the youth.
TalkUp Yout encourages all youth to find tangible solutions for their issues. Are you ready for today's show? Today's topic is
The bill we come for build the youth. Youths in action, Jamaica. We are build the youths, the head of youth in Jamaica.
This is a show for the youth by the youth. They set the agenda, and gender stereotypes was a topic our Jamaican youth decided they wanted to discuss. Tune in to their various perspectives and join the discussion.
So we have Roger who sits in a classroom, completely oblivious to what the teacher has to say, but he refuses to go up and seek clarification because of what his peers will say about him. Stanley sits at the corner. Who needs education? My father owns a business, my mother has money, I don't need to go to school. Then we have Keisha sitting at the front with all her female friends, rallying the cause for equality and freedom. These are the results of gender stereotypes in our country. Gender stereotypes simply refer to an overgeneralization of a group of people based on their gender. And my problems with it range from a variety of different things. First of all, we go around casting labels expecting our people to live up. A man must have enough girl. If he doesn't have them, then he's not a man. Females are supposed to stay in the house. Where's the equality in that? We're telling our females to stay in, but we're not telling our boys to stay in. Then we have those cultures that perpetuate and degrade our morals in our society. Gender stereotypes simply cannot survive because all it is problematic, and we need to cut this culture.
My problems with gender stereotypes are more personal because there are a lot of gender stereotypes in media, and this is the field I want to go into. I want to be a journalist, and I also want to be in media. But as a woman, the roles that a woman are supposed to play in media, you know, how many sports analysts and sports reporters do you know that are women? How many of them cover hard news, things about international relations and war? Our word is not seen as important or as impactful as the word of men. And these things go into how, you know, media houses do their hiring practices. So they won't hire many women for that, and that limits me. Because now I have to think about, is there enough women working here? Are there too many women working here? And that is a problem. Even on film sets, have you ever read the credits and just look at the amount of names of people who are female in a whole movie set, which is hundreds of people, thousands sometimes? It's serious. It's a serious problem. It limits people. That's my problem with gender stereotypes. People are limited, and that affects their whole trajectory going forward. That's their economic, that's their children. It's just too limiting for people. People are too nuanced to be boxed into these little roles.
My problem with gender stereotypes is how we teach our children, because it starts from education. I'm not speaking specifically to the family, but how in our secondary education system, in our primary schools, how we carry on the engendered type of thinking, where pink is for girls, blue is for boys, certain subjects are female, so certain subjects are male, and we see the need to protect the manhood of the males and to preserve the delicacy and the pink and sparkles ideology of the girls, without understanding the long-term implications of how we do things. We still have some schools in our society, male-dominated, who they will not teach home economics because they believe it's going to destroy the testosterone or something, and the girls cannot do anything with technical drawing, for example, or industrial art, because they believe it will make them into some kind of butcher or something like that. And we need to understand that education is there for all. They must access different tools because everyone have different aspirations. And for that reason, I believe that gender stereotypes should have no place in our education system, and our educators need to get it right. Because if we're going to teach every child, we must teach every child without any gender stereotypes.
When you hear the word nurse, what comes to mind? When you hear the word soldier, what's come to mind? These are all based off gender stereotypes. When you hear the word nurse, I can tell you that it's first females come to mind, but there are male nurses. When you hear the word soldier, the concept that comes to your mind is male, but there are female soldiers. This is because we assign roles and values to certain genders. Gender is socially constructed, so we assign roles and responsibility to person of different gender. We assume that male is supposed to be the disciplinarians and the breadwinners of the family, while female must stay home and do the caregiving chores. This is what is causing the social ills in the society. When a male is absent from a household, the family become a dysfunctional family because he's not there to provide discipline and economic benefit for the family. So this is hard for a single parent mother to take care of her child. This is what causes problem in our society. Having a boy in the household, the father is not there to guide him. This is what causes the problem in our society. So gender stereotype is basically what causes problem in our society because it limits the roles and the responsibilities of individuals, which make we overgeneralize that one gender must do this and the next gender must do this, so we leave it to a small amount of things that each gender can do.
Yeah, so Ricardo, I want to piggyback on that, because one of my issues really is where in the home, you still have this structure where, okay, a boy alone should fix a car or do all those stuff, get dirty, right? While a girl should be the one to keep the home and so forth and keep the children in line and so forth. So I think that right now, we're kind of creating these humans that are very dependent on each other, are not independent. Because what happens when I go out and I'm living on my own? Well, as a male, I can't cook. That's going to be a problem, right? So we need to look at that. Also, right now in Jamaica, did you know that we have more females in managerial positions than any other country in the world? In that light, we see that these females who are in these managerial positions are getting lower salaries than the men who are in those positions. And I think that's a problem, because if it's that a woman is doing the same amount of work, she's working the same amount of hours, she should get the same amount of pay, right? It's not, and I think it goes for both genders. So if it's that a male, once two of them are doing the same thing, they should get the same amount. So if two of us are managers, VPs, in the same line, we get the same amount of work. I think that's how it should go.
I like that you touched on that, Kiana and Ricardo. My main issue with gender stereotyping is in the workplace. As a female, people automatically think, oh, she's a secretary, oh, she's an assistant, why not the CEO? Why are we limiting our females? And why are we limiting our men as well? A man can be a secretary, a man can be a nurse, as Ricardo pointed out. We need to stop limiting our people. Another issue I have with gender stereotyping is people assuming a woman who is climbing the social ladder in her career is giving sexual favors. I think that's an assumption we make, and sometimes it is true. However, it's a horrible assumption to make, especially when we see a woman climbing and achieving certain goals in her career. As an aspiring businesswoman, I would hate for somebody to assume that the reason why I am where I am is because I'm giving sexual favors. I don't see anyone assuming a man is giving sexual favors, or maybe not as much. So that's another issue I have with gender stereotyping.
And that is an excellent point, Gillian, because another thing we find with gender stereotyping is that the ground isn't level when casting out these labels. Because if a man has a lot of girlfriends, or in the streets you'll call him gallus, you'll give him all the hype that comes with having a lot of girls. But let's say a woman goes around being promiscuous, you give her names that degrade her. So why are we not leveling out the playing field and labeling everybody the same way? I honestly think that is unequal, and that is not healthy for a utopian society.
You have all heard the youth views. Stay tuned for the discussion after the break.
We have to build the youths, the album youth in Jamaica.
This is Kevin too swayzy. This is Kevin too lazy. We'll take a break.
Take 3.
First, National Baking Company. Quality Jamaican product. Yo! Cheesy Boats, the picnic, I gonna love them here. It's like more popular than hopscotch and video games. Now, this made with real cheese. They like cheddar grenades. It's like somebody set up a cheese war in your mouth.
It's shockingly cheesy.
Cheesy Boats. Energize your taste buds. National Baking Company, made for Jamaicans by Jamaicans.
It's a WOW scholarship. Cranwater, in association with TalkUp, donates 3 $100,000 scholarships to 3 deserving youth to enhance their educational and professional development. Cranwater, supporting youth with WOW scholarships. scholarships. Water with wow!
And I say in this time, folks who bump on youth and say them not come to nothing. But the same little youth where you criticize every day, I him come turn you supervisor. Listen me, me say youth we always hustle at the market. Feel me little brother them forgot to school. With me food and my fruits in my basket. Me dip on the road right Joe. Easy, you see, I represent for the youths them. I don't want to downgrade the youths them. Build them, motivate them. Help them to reach where them want to reach. You see me I say? Yeah.
We have to build the youths there. Come youth in Jamaica.
You know what, guys? We've been speaking about gender stereotypes, and I understand the negative connotations, but aren't we forgetting that it serves a functional purpose? It does, because it provides a kind of instruction, kind of manual in a sense, wherein we can see where each gender is and we can see the divisive roles gender stereotypes play and why it is important enough to get rid of it. In that sense.
I agree with you, Shani, to an extent, because I think it's not so much a problem with the gender roles, and it's when you limit people, because humans, like I said, humans are nuanced. You're going to have people who fit the stereotype, you're going to have people who don't fit the stereotype, and you're going to have people who are kind of 50-50. When a man is different or when a woman is different and they don't fit the stereotype, they're not limited, they're not ostracized, they're not penalized for being different and just being who they are.
I would like to know, Shana mentioned that gender stereotypes serve a function in our society. I would like to know, how does it serve a function when, if anybody operates outside of that box, if anybody dares to be different, then persons are treated as an outcast, as Christina said. So how is that functional to society when it is that it's stopping person's progress? I believe that a person's role within a society is to be progressive and help that person's nation. And if I can't contribute comfortably to my country because you're going to tell me that I'm a female so I can't do certain things, then how is that functional to society?
I'll tell you why it's functional, quite frankly. Is that it's a gender stereotype. It's not a blockade. It doesn't stop you. Right? It's a gender stereotype. It is there, and you may say, oh my gosh, because of this gender stereotype, I can't really do this, or I feel like I can't do. But the fact is that you can. It doesn't serve as a blockade. It doesn't come and tell you stop. It is the very gender stereotype why we are here, why we're speaking about the issue, why we're talking about how limiting it is, and why we can break out and have some gender freedom. For example, when our Madam Prime Minister was running for office, she got a lot of gender stereotypes. People were saying, oh, you're a woman. You got a lot of biblical justification as a result of why she couldn't run. But did it stop her from running? We have a female DPP. We once had a female Speaker of the House. Did it stop these individuals from reaching there? Absolutely not. It is the very same reason why gender stereotypes serve a functional purpose in our society.
But what you're saying, I think it's disconnected from your example. Because you're saying that also they were going outside of the box, and that's okay, but then it's still a structure. We should still look at it. It's that they have to go through all this big thing for them to reach the heights, and when they reach the heights, then they get all this praise. Why should they go through all this hatred and all these bad words or anything going on, malice against them, for them to reach to a certain level and then their praise? I think that's where it's wrong.
And moreover, Keanu, you're talking about Madam Prime Minister and Madam this. How many women are in the House of Parliament? Count it. How many female prime ministers are there around the world? Hundreds of countries and tens of female prime ministers. How many women feel empowered to run in the first place? Look at the American elections that are about to go on. How many female candidates are running? Out of the over 10 people who are running. It's about the way how people are limited. You can't take one side of the spectrum and then generalize and say it's good. But when 90% of what's happening is bad for people.
Christina, I disagree with what you're saying, because it don't mean when more females become in office, that means it's going to be better for females. In Rwanda, they have more females in parliament than males. They have 69% of females in their parliament, and there's still not equality within the society. Males still dominate because males hold power, males have the money. So they say, hey, we're not going to support these females. They draw their money from the economy, and so the economy go bankrupt, and it look like the females are bad leaders. Gender stereotype is not just out there, it's structured, it's males who dominate, it's males who manipulate the system so males can stop whatever happens in the society. So this is what causes social ills and different issues facing all of us.
Get rid of the patriarchy.
But question, you said get rid of the patriarchy, then are you suggesting that gender stereotypes only exist within a patriarchal structure?
I wouldn't say that, because I think it works both ways. It has to work both ways, because equality can't just be I'm lifting up one side and then tearing down the next, because then you will have this. They're not this.
And
if it was already this.
And that is the problem that I have, even, for example, with pro-female groups. They believe so much in feminism to the point where they believe they must dominate the males. How can equality exist in that?
Because in Rwanda, instead of them working with the males and finding those who were willing to work with them, using their funds, of course, and their new ideas to help better the country, instead they wanted to dominate the whole parliament and not allow men in. So what the men do? Pull out their money. How do you then have a functioning country then if the males who are dominating the economy, as Ricardo said, are not helping out? Good ideas only go so far.
So Jillian, I know you study marketing, and I wanted to ask you a question because I was told by a professor that women who are going into marketing and advertising, they have to be thin, they have to wear sexy clothes, they have to have long hair, they have to be brown. And if you look like me, you better not pre that side too hard for a while, unless you have your gym membership and you're good. So I just wanted to get your opinion on that. Is that the reality out there?
Yes, there is that stigma where a female marketer, especially in Jamaica, must be sexy, she must look good. But at the same time, there are female marketers, successful ones at that, who aren't the thinnest or the brownest, But I think overall, it's more about being attractive so that someone would want you to sell their brand. It's all about customer appeal, being able to market yourself so that someone wants you to market their product or service.
Who defines attractive though? That is what I'm trying to get at. Who defines these different labels and levels that we attach to our genders? Who defines beauty? Who defines what looks good? Who defines what looks good on TV? These are the questions that we need to answer when you attack the whole situation of gender stereotypes, and I just think it has no place.
The simple answer is a society.
Yes, as I was just about to say, we are a post-colonialized society. Yeah, we are based on the European form of beauty. That is what we have been following. Yeah. So whatever in society is deemed as beautiful in the media and print media, everything, that is what people will think is attractive. Of course, we'll have differences in our opinions, but it's what is in your face. So whatever is in the media, whatever is being influenced by our post-colonial society, where the long straight hair, the lighter skin tone, that kind of thing will deem someone as attractive to some people, and then they will then pick that person as their marketer.
Exactly. And another issue I'd like to bring up is the idea of gender-based violence in Jamaica, because that's a really serious issue that is grounded in our domestic values. And it goes even further to how we treat our laws and how we treat with the females and males, how they interact with the law, for example. For example, rape is not gender neutral. So if a man goes to the police station saying that he was assaulted sexually, the police give him a weird look like,
idiot.
How you get raped by a woman?
Exactly.
But Shani, it's deeper than that. Do you know that legally, the legal definition of rape precludes a man from even being raped?
Exactly. Which is my point. So if we change the education of the minds of the young, which are going to grow up eventually, and not perpetuate these divisive gender stereotypes and limiting them, then we can have a broader spectrum. We can have some gender parity, and we can have some gender freedom, and we don't have this continuing over and over.
To add to the whole issue of gender-based violence, we all know that Jamaica is a highly homophobic nation. So because of that, we tell our young boys from a very tender age, big man no cry, and if you cry, you're not a man. And we must understand that single-parent homes are a reality in our country, and majority of these homes are headed by a female. And the society has it that a female cannot add the same type of value that a father would add to the lives of their son or their daughter. So you have probably that male grows up because you have that thing that says from it's in your psyche, you're going to portray it. So that male grows up modeling his mother's behavior. It isn't his fault. So we don't take the time out to check the background. We quickly label him, and that leads to a lot of gender-based violence. We see them on the road acting effeminate. We automatically assume that they're gay. And you know, when you watch the news reports and you hear about these sort of crimes that happen in our society, this is as a result of gender stereotyping. So I really need us to understand that it goes deeper than just the formal stuff such as education, but it goes back to the very things that we tell our children daily. The very stuff that we rings into their heads is what they portray, and is what society will assume about them whenever they portray that behavior.
And also, Shakira, I think, like, we've done the top on the surface and the middle, but here's what I think the bottom line about gender-based violence is. People, especially men, are internalizing these labels as well. It's not just about what they portray, it's also about how they feel about themselves and how they go about handling their own emotions. For example, there are a lot of men who, because of what you were saying about them not being able to cry or not being able to say, you know, dog, you hurt my feelings still, you know, my hurt, dog.
And not to totally disagree with Shana's point that gender stereotype have somewhat functioned because it had made me into a man. I go into St. George's College. The boys, they teach you how to be rough, you know, so when you go to the world, working world and the real world, you become, that macho kind of male within society, you know, how to stand up for yourself, you know, to be independent. So it have somewhat function, but it also can cause problem within our society.
Yeah, because Ricardo, here's what the problem is with that. I went to an all-girls school. I went to Wolmer's Girls, and there's so many women, there's so many young ladies there, because that's the culture of Wolmer's. You are a young lady, you stand a certain way, you don't raise your voice, you are very demure and peaceful in your behavior. But when you get angry, you don't know how to deal with it. That's a problem. So you don't know how to deal with your anger when you do get angry, and you know, you might kill someone. Or at Wolmer's, sometimes girls would have emotional breakdowns. Like their anger and their emotions had been pent up so long from trying to keep a facade up, that when it really spilled over, it was just very horrible. And you know that men in the society, sometimes they keep their aggression bottled up because they don't get to say, like I said, you know, when they're hurt, they don't get to say that they're hurt. So then all of that builds up until the pressure, it bursts over, and they will kill people. We have a bad crime and violence problem in Jamaica, and who knows, maybe that's where it's coming from, you know?
Those are some great points, although I disagree with a lot of them, right? So now it's social media time.
We have to build the youths, they have a youth in Jamaica.
I am here for you and you for me. So I will always love you, even through the hard times. If ever you need me, I'll be
Some moments
there.
last a lifetime. This moment is brought to you by National Cream Crackers.
It's a WOW scholarship! Cranwater, in association with TalkUp, donates 3 $100,000 scholarships to 3 deserving youth to enhance their educational and professional development. Cranwater, supporting youth with WOW scholarships. Water with WOW!
We have to build the youths, they have a youth in Jamaica.
So guys, we've unearthed a plethora of problems with gender stereotypes, but we really do need to look at the solutions. And my solution to the problem of gender stereotypes in media is to introduce gender relations into media courses. Because this year at Carrimac, we had a speaker come in and talk about gender relations, and so many people were surprised to this was the first time they were even hearing the topic. They didn't know we had a problem, and that changed the entire culture of the course going forward. You notice that in news writing pieces, people were more considerate of how the nuances of gender operate. And another solution to gender stereotypes in media is to have more female journalists defy the odds and step outside of the boxes that they've been confined in. Because you have Jamaican journalists like Karen Madden and Dion Jackson Miller who cover hard news and sports, and you just need to push the boundaries sometimes.
And that is when you look at it, that's at the basis of a lot of the solutions that we will have, because a lot of the times persons in authority who are not necessarily experiencing the situation make the decisions. We need to have more forums like this to allow the issues to come out so that we can find solutions that work with it. And another solution to that, the seminars and the workshops and the advertisements that we have to push equality need to be consistent. I mean, we can't have a one-off seminar and a one-off advertisement when it is that we realize that things are going wrong. We need to have this all year round, not just when Child's Month comes around, not just when a particular day comes around. We need to have consistency in our solutions. Thirdly, we need to, yes, we have the national policy of gender equality, but to that we need to add an education background to that. We need to have it in our schools. It's not too early to teach a child that, you know, you should treat your brother or your sister as equal, because we're all made with the same hands, same legs, same abilities, same capabilities. We just exercise them at different proportions. So we need to have that being taught in our schools. We need to get it at the grassroots, because I didn't know that from a very early age that I could do what I saw my brother doing. Positive things, of course, but we need to teach them these things.
My solution to the problem is that we can always talk and the narrative gets bigger and nothing really gets done. So I'm saying to the Ministry of Education that there needs to be an anti-discrimination policy on the grounds of gender, similar to the anti-bullying policy that is coming from the Ministry of Education, piloted by the Ministry of Education, put in some type of force. Also, I'm saying to our tertiary institutions who teach teachers how to teach, they need to have a preparation module in there telling them that there is equitable treatment right across the board, so the teachers themselves, the paragons of education, can infiltrate the gender stereotypes and banish them and allow some more of gender neutrality within our education system. I cannot say it anymore that education is the key to any type of progress in a society, and if education is tainted by gender stereotypes, then what left is the rest of the society? What are we then to do? We cannot continue to think that we're a progressive nation and these things of male versus female is still hidden in the dark and no one really talks about it, and even when we talk about it, nothing comes from it. A policy needs to be done up. There needs to be some enforcement similar to the national policy of gender equality, with some individuals put in place, experts put in place to get the ball on the ground.
I completely agree. My solution for the issue of gender stereotyping in the work world or the career is that we really need more consistent awareness and development of our people. Not only women, not just men, but overall. I believe our women especially need to stand up and say, this is why I am where I am. It's not just about, oh, pretty looks. It's not all about that. It's about the journey. Similarly as to how Lisa Hanna came out with her story in the Jamaica Gleaner the other day. She told her story of being a humble St. Mary girl and where she is now, Miss World, Member of Parliament, etc. I think we need more of those examples, not only to encourage our females and men as well, but to let people understand that it's not because you open your legs while you're here. It's because you work hard and you put your head to your book.
All right, but to also add to your point about the workplace, Julian, I really think that now the businesses need to start stepping up and look into enforcing their social responsibility, right? And paying their females in the right order and paying their males, everybody in the right order that they should. Also, I really want to tackle the home, right? I really think the home is a central unit of the society. It's the smallest unit in society. And if the home is not right, then the society is not right. So really now we need to start teaching our males and teaching our females everything. So we should start teaching our males that them for know for cook, them for know for wash, them for know for clean, right? And we should start teaching our girls also to know so them can change a tire or something, and not to solely depend on, or have to wait on a man to do this, or have to wait on a girl to do this, but to be more independent. So I think that's a next issue that we need to look at, and that's the solution for it.
And I'd like to just jump in on the basis of gender-based violence. And lest we forget the internal genders. For example, the rife between female and female and how that works within our society. The female cussing of the other female. We have to fix the internal gender problems first before we can come together. And we have males doing the same thing as well. May not be overt, but it's more covert and everything like that. But we need to fix those things before we can come together as a gender, because we need to fix the internalized problems. And another thing as well, I really think that the legal definition of rape needs to be gender neutral. It definitely needs to be that, and we cannot hide behind the background of religion and not want to fix this problem that is staring us in the face, because eventually it will come. Hell or high water, it will come.
Yeah, as I mentioned previously about the issue in Rwanda, that when females are put in power, they doesn't work in the interest of other females. This can also be something that can be implemented in our political system, a gender quota system that is 51% females in the population and 49% males in the parliament look the same way. 51% female representing us and 49% males. This will bring an equal representation, and this will eradicate gender stereotype within our society. Also that the family can help to deconstruct the notion about what gender is assigned to do, what responsibility, what roles. You can make everything neutral. Boys and girls do the same job, same responsibility, same household chores in the homes.
And I couldn't agree more. And these solutions will totally work with some action and consistency. And we could definitely talk all day. But now it's celebrity interview time.
Have you been to Jamaica before, and what did you like about it?
I am an island man at heart. Like, if you look at my room, it's like filled with just like, I don't know, like, you know, you got the Marley, you got I don't want to say Marley because there's so many, you know, other artists that's just like, you know, Buju, Bantan, everybody, Damien. You know, I've always been obsessed with kind of the, you know, Jamaican culture as a child. So I went to Jamaica when I was like 8 years old, but I went to like the more touristy spot, Ocho Rio, not like Kingston where, you know, it's real. I need to make a trip, you know what I'm saying?
This is a show for the youth, by the youth. What would you like the younger generation to know and learn?
Young generation, the millennials, understand that life is not just about you. It's about other people. You know, you got to really. This generation has the spirit of followers, and I and me, and vanity, and the how many people love me, and how cute can I get? What type of plastic surgery is here? The American culture has pushed these images on young people that, to me, are counteractive with. Think about what Molly said. He said, "Well, my richness is not in gold and money. It's in life forever." You know, that's a big statement. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what do you value? Find out what you value first before you get into this business or to be successful in whatever business you want. Find out what you value, because if you really think about what you value, you'll have a better perspective on what you really want to be and want to do.
How important is it for youths to talk up?
If you're saying something that's uplifting, that's bringing forth fruit that's uplifting, then I think that you can easily, you know, let your voice be heard. You know what I mean? Because it'll cut through all the BS that people talk about today. You know, I think that's the key for your voice to be heard is to do what you guys are already doing, and you know, it cuts through. You know, it cuts through the fat. It cuts through the noise. So you guys are doing it. You guys are doing it great.
There's a big problem of gender violence. What is one way we can alleviate this?
One way to alleviate gender violence is to understand that there's no respect of person when it comes to doing a job. You know, you can't say one person can do a job better than the other one because this person. Now, there are very good qualities to both genders, and they work together. They should be able to work together in harmony because that's how it was made to be. You know, and the thing is that when you look at a woman, you can't look at a woman as an object. You gotta look at this girl as my helpmeet. This woman right now, my girlfriend, is my helpmeet. This girl is my rib. This is a part of me. And when you think like that, and you see your other gender and your other brothers and sisters, you gotta look at them as, wow, what qualities that they have. Because in that case, if it wasn't a quality, if us, the opposite genders have, if there was no qualities, then we would all be the same. We would all be male, or we would all be female. But why the two genders? Why is there a female species and a male species? Because it was needed. Thank you so much. Talk Up Youth!
Talk Up Youth, Mr. Talk Up Youth!
In Jamaica.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of TalkUp Youth, giving the youth a voice. Keep the conversations alive and help us to continue to find solutions for all our problems. Twitter and Facebook is at TalkUp Youth, hashtag TalkUpYout, and on Facebook, TalkUp Youth TV show. See you then.
TalkUp Youth is powered by National Baking Company in association with Crown Water, a Stanley and Empress production, giving the youth a voice.